Welcome to Sportsbook Review's NBA Preview. I'm Joe Duffy of OffshoreInsiders.com, and along with Troy West of TroyWins.com, we're going to preview the weekend NBA action from a betting standpoint. We'll take a look at great situations. Make sure if you're not already subscribed to SBR's YouTube page, you've got to do it, especially with the conference tournaments here, the big conference tournaments next week, and of course the NCAA tournament the week after that. Donnie Rightside, the big man on campus, they're as knowledgeable as anybody anywhere when it comes to college basketball. If you're not already subscribed to the Sportsbook Review YouTube page, you got to do that, and make sure that you do comment. Like any questions you've got, put them in the comments section. All right, we're going to take a look, as I said, at the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday games from a betting standpoint. Also, at the end of this report, I'll take a look at my sweat barometer, who have been the best teams to bet on or against when it comes to totals this year, who have been the best over teams, who have been the best under teams based on that margin of cover, or as some people call it, the sweat barometer. But let's start out with the Friday portfolio. Troy West of TroyWins.com, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I got two games circled tonight, Joe. One is actually going to be a road team. A lot of times I don't like taking Detroit on the road, but they are minus 2.5 against an Orlando team that Orlando's been extremely bipolar this year, but I still think, and I've been talking about this for a while, Detroit has so much to play for. They're still getting in sync with Blake Griffin. They came out hot out of the gate when they made that trade. They slowed down a little bit, but they did look better in their last outing. I like Detroit laying the points here tonight on the road at Orlando. I just think that's a good spot for Detroit to pick up a win against a very mediocre to bad team in the Eastern Conference. And then the other one that I truly do like tonight is the Clippers at home against the New York Knicks. I've seen that line at 7.5 to 8.5, but I love the Clippers to bounce back. They got the crap beat out of them on Wednesday night against Houston. Houston's just been a well-oiled machine. They've been virtually unstoppable as of late. But the Clippers have been a nice basketball team, and they've been playing okay. They've been playing very competitive. I like them at home against a team like New York, who's got to travel all the way across the country and go face a team that just got their butts whooped. I like the Clippers handedly tonight by double digits. And again, I've seen that line at 7.5 to 8.5. But I'll roll with the Clippers at home, the ESPN Friday night game. I like them to bounce back and get a win against a really bad Knicks team that's got to travel from East Coast to West Coast.
All right, I'm going to ask Troy about Saturday in a moment, but some of the games that I'm looking at for Friday, Charlotte and Philadelphia. We like to look at those rest dynamics. Charlotte is rested versus an opponent playing back-to-back in 3 games in 4 nights, and as I say time and time again, it's even better when the more rested team is on the road, and I say it every week, but it really bears repeating that normally the rest dynamics benefit the home team, but when it benefits the road team, that's maybe about 35% of the time, that kind of neutralizes some of the home court advantage, and the odds makers are not taking advantage of this. It's not really accounted to in the line. Well, it's definitely not accounted to in the line, and like I always say, sometimes the smallest advantages, they all add up. And we're being very realistic here, not claiming to hit 80%, but when you can get something that hits at about 55% over years and years and years, that's actually a big advantage. New York at the LA Clippers, kind of the opposite of what Troy's saying. We're maybe a little bit head-to-head here, but as far as our philosophies, New York with 2 extra days rest, and again, New York on the road, it benefits when the road team is more rested. Minnesota at Utah. The Jazz have 2 extra days rest, and the Jazz are kind of the exception to what I was talking about. We all know about the thin air, the high elevation of Denver, but people overlook Salt Lake City is also a tough place to play back-to-back. Utah 133 and 105 ATS, of course, when rested at home versus an opponent that's not rested, and when they have 2 extra days rest, 59.4% Utah is at home. So don't just think about Denver when it comes to tough places to play back-to-back. Salt Lake City is as well. Saturday NBA card. Troy, what are you taking a look at on the Saturday portfolio?
Yeah, a couple interesting games. You know, the Cavs are going to be playing at home against the Denver team. Boy, the Cavs have been atrocious as of late. I was guilty, one of the guilty ones that thought after they ran off 3 in a row that they'd be looking good. But boy, I do like them to bounce back tomorrow against Denver at home. Denver's a much better team when they are at home versus on the road. Cleveland, this is a big, big game. We've talked about their complacentness, but boy, do they really want to fall into another tailspin. I don't think so. I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll get a win at home on Saturday against Denver. And the other one that's kind of intriguing, I don't know where this line's going to be But take a look at the Lakers as an underdog, obviously on the road in San Antonio. This Laker team's playing really good basketball as of late. They are on a long road trip, but they did just take care of business against Atlanta and Miami. Now they go into San Antonio. I suspect them to be a pretty hefty underdog. I'd guess between the 6 to 9 range. And if it is between the 6 to 9 range, I like the Lakers getting points. They are playing really good basketball right now. They're playing inspired. They're putting up a lot of points. And they're even trying to play good on the defensive side of the floor. So I would like the Lakers as an underdog Saturday, depending on where those points are going to be.
All right, and a couple games Saturday that I'm looking at, well, 3, actually. Detroit and Miami and Oklahoma City and Portland. In both cases, the home team, Miami and Portland, rested versus an opponent playing back-to-back in 3 games in 4 nights. Now, as far as the game that Troy was talking about, the Lakers in San Antonio, a little bit tough of a spot for the Lakers. They are playing their 4th straight road game. And as Troy said, you never know what the line's going to be there. The San Antonio Spurs, more than any other team, you really want to take a look at what the starting lineup is going to be. Well, Greg Popovich, you think that this is a good chance to maybe rest some players. But the Lakers in a little bit of a tough spot from a scheduling standpoint. I'll give you my Sunday opinions in a moment, but first of all, Troy West, what are you looking at Sunday?
Yeah, just one game on Sunday. I'm actually going to roll back to the Clippers again, and I'm going to roll back with that philosophy that we talked about for tonight's game. Clippers will be at home again. This will be their 3rd straight home game. They get the Brooklyn Nets into town, another East Coast to West Coast travel game. The Nets, they've been kind of one of those bipolar teams too. They surprise you in a lot of different spots, but this is one of those games I expect the line to be very similar to tonight's game, 7.5 or so. And I like the Clippers to get a big win by at least double digits against a really bad Nets team who doesn't travel well. And now they're going East Coast to West Coast. Clippers 3rd game at home. I think they'll be rested and ready to go. I'll take the Clippers on Sunday to finish off the week.
And a couple games I'm looking at on the Sunday card. New Orleans at Dallas. New Orleans will be playing with those 2 extra days rest. And again, I point out they are the road team where it is more beneficial there for reasons that I explain. And the Pacers and the Wizards. The Pacers will be playing their 4th straight road game. Meanwhile, the Wizards are on a home stand. So the scheduling dichotomy looking pretty good there for the home team. I'd like to, on a lot of our shows, take a look at some of the metric standings. And as far as the NBA over-under, again, more important than the over-under record, I think, is the so-called sweat barometer or the margin of cover. The top over teams this year, New Orleans has gone over 37 and 23, but by 5.7 points per game. Charlotte, incredibly, although they've gone under 31 and 30, their games have gone over by a margin of 3.4. So what that means is when Charlotte goes over, they're going over by large margins. When they go under, it's by small margins. Toronto going over by an average of 2.2, and then Chicago by 2.1. As far as the best under teams, Phoenix has been the best under team, even though they've only gone under at a 33 and 30 rate. They've gone under by an average of 4.3 points per game. Brooklyn has gone under at a much higher rate, 36 and 25, but by an average of 4 points per game. And Philadelphia, they've only gone under 31 and 29, but by an average of 3.5. So again, as far as I'm concerned, it's much more important to look at that margin or the so-called sweat barometer. But, it's one of those I report, you decide. Like I said, we can do a long debate on exactly how to use that. I found it's more of a regression to the mean, but I at least wanted to give that to you what the actual standings are. Now, Troy and I were going to be back on Monday, but before we do wrap it up, Troy, why don't you tell everybody what they can get at TroyWins.com?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. As we talked about before, off air, you took a bad beat last night. One of our bigger plays with Washington -3. They took a bad beat at the buzzer. It happens. But, hey, come take a look at what we're doing. Big Ten Conference Tournament is in play. We're 2-0 so far in the Big Ten Conference, and really excited for the conference tournaments next week. I really think it's one of those times where you really got to find those teams that need those marquee wins going into March Madness, and there seems to be a lot of value there. So come take a look at what we're doing. We seem to think that we can find those teams. That's TroyWins.com. Happy to give you a free trial. Come take a look at what we're doing. Again, that's TroyWins.com.
Yeah, maybe one of these days I should do a podcast on bad beats. I've had some horror stories over the years. Make sure you visit me at OffshoreInsiders.com, where I do free picks on almost a daily basis, usually at least 5, 6, and in most cases 7 days a week. I know this is an NBA broadcast, but I, of course, also handicap the NCAA. And, like I said, there's a couple gentlemen right here on SBR I have enormous respect for as far as their college basketball handicapping, but I like to take a look at it from an analytical standpoint, especially with these conference tournaments back to back to back. It creates some great situations. Make sure you visit me at offshoreinsiders.com. In all sports, both college basketball and NBA now, and baseball is just around the corner. And make sure you join us. We will record again on Monday, taking a look at the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe even Thursday card right here on Sportsbook Review. And make sure you do join Troy and me twice a week on the NBA Preview.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.